Hello again, it's me, it's Clayton. Now, I promised earlier today that I'd make a video regarding why I wouldn't review Allegiant, the next film in the Divergent series. Well, it's mainly because I've sort of been burned out by the whole young adult movie craze. Here's what I'm saying. Back in 2012, I think it was 2012, when The Hunger Games came out, everyone absolutely loved that movie, and it was proven to be an absolute success in the young adult genre. And ever since The Hunger Games has set the template for a young adult movie, usually one starring a female protagonist in a dystopian America going up against a big bad government, every single young adult movie has tried to copy what Hunger Games has done. It's been that way with the Divergent series, it's been that way with the Maze Runner series, it's been that way with The Giver, and more recently, it's been what they've done with The Fifth Wave. It seems that any young adult novel that carries that template will try to be the next Hunger Games and completely fail at doing it. I remember seeing the first Maze Runner and I was thinking, hey, that movie was okay. Not amazing, but it was okay. And then seeing the Scorch Trials and then figuring out, oh, I know exactly what they're doing here. They're trying to be the next Hunger Games when they don't have Jennifer Lawrence or any of the people who understood what made Hunger Games a great movie series. Now, as far as the Divergent series is concerned, I considered it to be dead on arrival from the start. Now, Shailene Woodley, I will say, does a decent job as Triss in the first two Divergent movies, the ones I've seen, but she's really one of the only saving graces of that movie series, as it's another dystopian America featuring a strong female lead, a bunch of hot guys that Shailene has romanced in other movies, such as Miles Teller, and that one guy she dated in The Fault of Our Stars, going up against a big bad government involving factions, fights, and a racially diverse cast going against a mostly white leaders. And the thing that makes Divergent obviously such a unnecessary film to see is the fact that almost all of the things you've seen in Hunger Games or any other young adult films, they've been done before. I mean, we've seen the factions, we've seen these tests, we've seen characters like Triss. It's true that Triss isn't as bad as Bella Swan, but that doesn't mean she's an amazing character. She's sort of just a typical female lead that we see nowadays in young adult novels. And even when the leads are male, it doesn't really improve things. Like with The Maze Runner, I barely remember who half of the guys in that film were. In The Fifth Wave, I was barely able to care about anybody. And as far as The Giver is concerned, let's just for the sake of everyone that remembers the original Giver, let's pretend that this film version didn't exist. Yeah. The first Divergent, and I will admit, to its very little credit, it had a few decent, cool action scenes, and Shailene Woodley clearly had the best overall performance. But then came Insurgent. It's one of those movies that is a ripoff of not just Hunger Games, but also it rips off elements of The Matrix and the original Maze Runner to the point where you can tell the directors are just throwing everything at the audience, seeing if something will stick, when nothing does stick. And when you throw everything at a movie in the kitchen sink, it doesn't mean it's going to be a well-written product. It's just the result of a rushed, bad film. And that's what Insurgent was. As far as the other characters are concerned, the fact that they got so many talented actresses like Kate Winslet and Octavia Spencer to appear in that movie, just for throwaway roles, really just shows me how it seems like they were just thrown in so they could get a quick paycheck. Like, they don't get any other roles nowadays, so this is one of the only film series where they can. And as far as Miles Teller is concerned, Miles Teller shouldn't be in movies. Especially after seeing Fant 4 stick. Trust me, if you want to hear my opinion on Fantastic, I have an entire video review on my YouTube channel already. Yeah, so yeah. Those are basically the reasons I'm not going to review Allegiant. It's obvious that it's just trying to act like Mockingjay Part 1. And even Mockingjay Part 1 felt a little overstuffed and a little and felt like it had a lot of padding. So it's obvious that Allegiant's going to do that for Part 1 just to get prepared for the incredibly disappointing conclusion of Part 2, which anyone who's read the books would probably tell you that the ending's pretty disappointing as well. So instead of improving their craft over time and going 2 steps forward, Insurgent, for me, was 3 steps backwards. And Allegiant is going to step so far backwards that it's not even in the same race as movies like Maze Runner and Hunger Games. Or Harry Potter. Especially since the Rotten Tomatoes score is insultingly low at 11%. That means it's technically so far worse than Transformers, than most of the Transformers movies, Pixels, and 50 Shades of Grey. Jeez, it's worse than those? No thanks. So yeah, not going to review Allegiant. See you later.